The judge smirks at the boy in the thrift store blazer. The gallery chuckles, just a little. Then a shaky livestream, projected on a courtroom wall, stops every breath in the room. By 2:07 p.m., the last of the lunch buzz has bled out of courtroom 3C. Only the drone of fluorescence remains. The air smells like paper and old coffee. Sunlight sneaks through high windows and makes a bright rectangle on the floor, safer to look at than the bench. On the docket, State versus Reyes, number 25 CR 4410. Charge: burglary of a commercial building. Subcharge: resisting. The police report says the suspect was seen sprinting from the back door of Miller's Pharmacy on Auburn Avenue at 4:09 p.m. last Thursday, hoodie up, backpack bouncing. A clerk allegedly shouted, "Stop!" The officer wrote furtive once and non-compliant twice. The words sit there in tidy blocks, like facts. At the defense table, Malik Reyes, 17, breathes slow through his nose. His all angles in a jacket a size too big, pawnshop charcoal, and a white shirt with a stubborn crease. His curls are clipped close, his jaw still soft with those last days before shaving becomes a thing. The collar of a royal blue hoodie peeks from his jacket. Aces Robotics, the letters cracked with wear. On his wrist, a thrift digital watch blinks 2:07. A habit he's had since he learned there's power in knowing the time. Tucked inside his wallet is a small photo booth strip of a girl with 2 puff ponytails and missing front teeth. Isabel, 8, all gap-toothed grin and big eyes, his sister. Malik doesn't touch the photo. He just knows it's there. That's enough. Beside him sits public defender Nora Kim, 33, hair pinned back, files in straight rows, one sticky note that simply says breathe. She's competent in a way that doesn't announce itself. She taps the corner of the motion to suppress like a metronome set to steady. The courtroom is full in the way only a small scandal makes it full. 2 reporters from the local paper, an elderly pastor in a black suit, a cluster of students in lanyards from a nearby charter school, and a few people who have nowhere else to be but here, watching the machinery of other people's day's grind. On the bench, Judge Conrad Hardwick, late 50s, adjusts the cuffs of a well-loved robe. He has the air of a man who believes he understands a room the moment he walks into it. He leans back, scans the gallery, then glances at Malik's jacket, the hoodie, the scuffed shoes. "Let's make this efficient," he says, and the bailiff calls the case. Assistant District Attorney Clive Monroe rises with an easy confidence that gets most defendants to plead out before the second hearing. Navy suit. Conservative tie. He motions to the screen. "Your Honor, the state is ready. We'll begin with the store's reality camera. Timestamp 16 hours 9 minutes and 27 seconds. The grainy video plays. Rain glitters like static. A figure in a hood darts from the door, a backpack thumping. The camera's lens warps the run, making fast feet look like guilt. The face is a blur, pixelated skin, anonymous. Monroe gestures with an open hand, the way lawyers do when they want to look reasonable and relentless at the same time. Then the officer bodycam. This will be clip 7B. We see the alley from officer height. Breath steady, footsteps, the radio voice. Suspect heading east. The camera turns a corner and catches a sliver of blue hood at the edge of the frame. That's all. The clip ends with a wet slap of boots through a puddle and nothing else. Judge Hardwick glances down at Malik. "That your hoodie?" he says, the tone casual and sharp at once. Nora is up before Malik answers. "Objection to the insinuation, Your Honor. The garment in the video is not identified." Hardwick lifts a hand, amused. "Relax, counsel. It's a question, not a conviction." He looks back at Malik. "You own a blue hoodie?" Malik lifts his eyes. "Yes, Your Honor. Aces Robotics. I wore it at our meet." There's a light, polite chuckle from the second row, the kind that says who wears a hoodie to court. The pastor doesn't laugh. He watches the boy like he's seen enough boys to know how thin a line can be. Monroe continues. "Mr. Reyes was detained at 4:27 p.m. 4 blocks from the pharmacy. The backpack contained tools, pliers, a folding knife, a small pry bar. He lets the word tool sit. He doesn't mention a screwdriver also fixes a robot. Nora flips a page. Your Honor, the tools were mechanics pliers and a T10 torque screwdriver, a robotics kit standard. The knife was under 3 inches, legal length, and used to cut cable ties. The backpack had Team 3812 stencil and battery packs. We can produce a witness who saw Mr. Reyes at Eastview High Gym at 4:12 p.m., on stage, during an awards ceremony. Hardwick lifts a brow. An awards ceremony, he repeats, flavoring the words like he's tasting a candy he doesn't believe in. We're not going to turn this into a talent show, Ms. Kim. Your Honor, Nora replies, even and respectful. The state's theory requires my client to be at the pharmacy at 4:09 and at a school 2.3 miles away by 4:12, unstage, without a car. It was raining. We intend to demonstrate that timeline is impossible. Hardwick waves 2 fingers as if cleaning a window. We'll see. Proceed. He glances over the rim of his glasses at Malik, takes in the jacket that doesn't fit and the thin knot of the tie. He leans into the mic just enough to be heard by the front 2 rows. Son, he says, the word warm around the edge and frigid in the center. If you have something responsible to say, say it. Otherwise, let the adults work. Malik's jaw tightens. He keeps his hands on the table. He feels the photo in his wallet like a heartbeat. A boy in the gallery, the kind who stares too hard, murmurs, typical. He doesn't say what he means. He doesn't have to. Monroe calls Officer Lyle Benton. Benton's uniform is crisp. His testimony is, too. He's careful not to overclaim. He points to the sliver of blue, the direction of flight, the recovered backpack. Did you ever see the suspect's face? Nora asks on cross. No, Benton says. Hood up. Rain. Did you ever lose sight of the suspect? Yes, he admits. Twice. Between alleys. Would you tell the court the exact times you engaged and the times you logged those engagements in CAD? Benton glances at Monroe, at the judge, back to Nora. Approximately 16:10 and 16:12 for engagement. Logged at 16:17 due to pursuit. Nora nods. So the entries and the events are not simultaneous. No. Did you request the pharmacy's interior footage? Detective unit handles that. Have you seen that footage? No. Did you author a supplemental when you recovered the backpack? Yes. Is the chain of custody complete? It should be. Should is not the same as is, officer. Is it complete? Benton pauses. I believe so. Nora thanks him. She's not trying to embarrass him. She's building a question big enough to walk a truth through. Monroe stands. We also have the clerk, Ms. Patel. The middle-aged woman walks carefully to the stand like she's balancing a tray, swears in, sits. She's nervous, not about the boy, about being seen. We saw him run, she says. Blue hoodie. He looked back. His face. Nora asks. Maybe? It was raining. I wanted it to be over. Her words sit in the air a moment, heavy and honest. Nora taps the motion to suppress, then looks at the judge. Your Honor, the state's evidence is a sliver of blue, an assumption about tools, and a timeline that melts under rain. We intend to present objective proof. Hardwick leans back, fingers steepled. And what is your objective proof? Nora turns to Malik. Tell me again, she says quietly, about the video. Malik nods once. He looks at the bailiff, then at the clerk. Your Honor, he says, voice steady. My team was live-streaming the awards on Eastview High's PTSA channel. The stream shows me on stage at 4:12 p.m. The pharmacy camera says 4:09 for the burglary. It's a 12-minute walk to the school. I don't run 12 minutes in 3. Hardwick's mouth thins. He glances at Monroe. And the state did not recover this live stream. Monroe clears his throat. We were not aware of its existence. Because you didn't ask, Nora says, not made of sugar, not made of glass. Monroe bristles. Counsel can keep her editorial. Hardwick raps the gavel. Light. Enough, he says, but his eyes are on the boy. Do you have this video, Mr. Reyes? Malik nods. Yes, Your Honor. We downloaded it. It's also archived. I brought the link and the file. The timecode is visible. Nora adds, and we have a sworn affidavit from Coach Davenport, the event coordinator, that the stream's clock synced to the school network NTP at 1 p.m. that day. Hardwick's face doesn't change. Something behind it does. Play it, he says. The bailiff dims the lights with the endearing clumsiness of a man who doesn't care about lights but cares about doing it right. The projector whines, then floods the wall with a clean image. Eastview High Gym, banners, a stage dressed in blue. The camera wobbles at first, refocuses, settles. Timestamp, 4:11 and 43 seconds p.m. A principal at the podium beams like a lighthouse. And your Design Excellence Award goes to ACE's Robotics Team 3812. The camera shakes with the cheer. Students in blue hoodies pour toward the stage. Awkward elbows, laughter that sounds like relief. At 4 hours 12 minutes and 9 seconds, a tall, thin kid with curls and a too-big jacket, that too-big jacket, steps onto the stage. He lifts his chin, small and proud. A silver medal is looped over his neck. He turns to hug a girl with ink-stained fingers. He is very clearly Malik. The gallery murmurs, but it's not gossip now. It's recognition. The pastor whispers, "Thank you," hands clasped tight. The judge doesn't move. He watches the boy on the wall. He glances at the clock over the door. He glances back at the timecode, at the exact way the jacket bunches at the shoulders. The jacket in his courtroom. The jacket on the stage. One is not a suggestion of the other. They are the same. Pause, Nora says softly. The screen freezes. 4 hours 12 minutes and 23 seconds. Malik's mouth half smile, half inhale. A medal glints, the sort of glint that doesn't argue. Nora approaches the screen, careful not to block the light. Your Honor, the state says Mr. Reyes ran from Miller's Pharmacy at 4:09, then led an officer around alleys until 4:12, then materialized 2.3 miles away, dry enough to take a medal, steady enough to stand still. Or the state is wrong. Silence sits beside the judge like a companion. Then Nora continues, not triumphant, not smug, clear. We also have phone GPS from Malik's Lifeline Android, the free one that logs in 5-minute bursts to save battery, showing a ping at 4:10 near Pryor and Hilliard, a bus stop, and 4:12 at Eastview Gym. We have an email from Coach Davenport verifying Malik checked the team's battery tote out of a locked cabinet at 3:55 and returned it at 4:35, both events logged by the school's RFID cabinet. We have a screenshot from the team group chat, timestamp server-side, where teammate Rohan texts, "Yo Malik, where you?" They're starting at 4:09 and Malik responds running down the hall at 4:10. She sets each page on the table as she says it. Paper tapping wood. Ping, tote log, chat. Evidence, not loud, just present. Monroe shifts on his feet. Your Honor, if a loud discovery. Hardwick cuts him gently. The state has had a week. He looks back to the wall. He looks at the boy. Resume. The video continues. At 4 hours 12 minutes and 41 seconds, the principal leans into the microphone. A special note, the ACES team built their robot's drivetrain from salvaged printers. True ingenuity. Laughter. Applause. The kids beam with the particular pride of making something from not much. The lights come up slow. The court is the court again, but different now, as if the walls heard and are considering it. Hardwick takes a breath you can hear because you're listening for any sign that men like him can change shape without breaking. He leans toward the MIC. Mr. Monroe, he says, too level to be angry, any admissible evidence placing Mr. Reyes at the pharmacy at 4:09 that shows his face, not his clothing. Monroe's jaw works. No, Your Honor. Any reason the state could not have retrieved the school stream. He hesitates. We did not ask. And the tools? Hardwick continues. Any evidence those belonged to someone else? That the backpack was used for burglary, not robotics. Monroe looks at the transfer of power in the room and decides not to be crushed by it. No, Your Honor. Hardwick nods. He sits back. He looks at Malik, really looks, past jacket and hoodie, past the paw, past the teen. He sees the boy holding still when every muscle said run. He sees self-control like a suit that fits. The judge clears his throat. Mr. Reyes, he says, careful now, please stand. Malik stands. His knees do not shake. The photo of Isabel is warm against his hip. After review, Hardwick says, every word in the record, the state's timeline is incompatible with the livestream and with independent location data. The identification rests on clothing, not a face, and the chain of custody regarding the backpack is incomplete. He looks at Monroe on that last word. Monroe nods, owning it. The charges are dismissed, Hardwick says, crisp. Mr. Reyes, you are free to go. There's no cheer. There's a long, collective exhale a person could float on. The pastor closes his eyes and whispers something you don't need to hear to understand. The students in lanyards look at one another like a concept just clicked. Evidence beats assumptions. One of the reporters finally remembers to type. Nora's shoulders drop a fraction. She turns to Malik. Breathe, she says. He does. Hardwick isn't done. He looks at Monroe. Mr. Monroe, the court expects the district attorney's office to review procedures regarding digital evidence and school event verification. The court also expects Officer Benton's unit to synchronize CAD entries with real-time events when feasible and to request interior footage in all such cases. We are not in the business of guessing. Monroe nods. We'll issue a guidance memo today, he says, and he means it, not to save face, but because he recognizes the relief of being corrected before a worse harm. From the back row, Coach Davenport. Someone texted him mid-hearing. He sprinted 4 blocks. Slides into the last seat, breathless. He sees Malik standing, sees the posture, understands without the words. He lifts a hand. Malik lifts his back, a small wave, boy to grown man, machine builder to classroom builder. It's enough. At the far end of the bench, Judge Hardwick lets the silence rest. Then, unexpectedly, he addresses Malik again. You kept your voice down when mine wasn't, he says. That's rarer than it should be. Consider law not because of this day, but because you know what time it is when the room doesn't. That matters. It is not an apology. It is a sentence that might become one if said again in a different case to a different boy. The bailiff says, next case, out of habit. No one moves. The gallery needs a second to remember their bodies. The hallway outside 3C is long and bright and smells like lemon cleaner. Sound bounces. Heels, zippers, laughter that didn't know where to go for an hour. A vending machine hums like a lazy hornet. Malik and Nora step to the far end by a window that overlooks the courthouse steps and a sliver of park. The rain has gone. The city glints as if someone wiped it with a clean cloth. Nora sits on the ledge and rubs her calf where heels have opinions. You did good in there, she says. I didn't do anything, Malik says, unsure what to do with his hands now that they're not carefully still. He takes his wallet out, slides the photo strip free, and holds it up to the light. Isabel's smile glows. He laughs quietly, a sound like unwinding wire. I just said what time it was. Nora smiles. Sometimes that's all the room needs. Down the corridor, Officer Benton walks toward them, hat in hand, a literal gesture in a building of figurative ones. He stops a respectful distance away. Mr. Reyes, he says, not son, not kid. I wanted to say, he exhales. We'll be reviewing how we handle this. We got lost between alleys and then we stayed lost. He glances at Nora. Counselor. Nora nods. Thank you, officer. Benton goes. He'll remember this case when he writes the next narrative, when he reaches for furtive and puts it back. A woman approaches, hair frizzed from running. She's mid-30s, eyes bright. Malik. She holds up a hand like she's asking permission to bother him. I'm Ms. Patel, from the pharmacy. I wanted to say I'm sorry for saying I saw what I didn't. The words are heavy and plain. Thank you, Malik says. He means it, not because the apology pays a debt, but because it invites him not to carry one. Nora checks her phone. The DA sent a memo already, she says, eyebrows up. Digital verification protocol, live streams, school logs, GPS, the works. And a station training on chain of custody. She shows him the subject lines. He reads them like they're a new language that uses time and honesty as nouns. They head for the stairs. At the landing, the pastor who sat through the hearing stands, hat in his hands. "Young man," he says, "I run a community night at the recording. We talk to boys about robots and records and rights." He smiles, soft at the corners. "You should come teach them how to stand still." "I don't know how to teach," Malik says. "You just did," the pastor answers. Outside, the steps are warm. People move like a river around rocks. Coach Davenport is waiting at the bottom with the Aces team banner rolled under his arm. With him is Rohan, hair wild, grin wider. "Dude," Rohan says before decorum can stop him. "We kept the stream up the whole time." Comments were like, "That's him," and "Tell the judge to subscribe." He laughs. Coach elbows him, gentle. "Sorry, Coach." Coach hands Malik a small box. "It came this morning," he says. "We were going to give it to you at the team dinner. But," he gestures at the courthouse, "at the day." Malik opens it. Inside is a 3D printed keychain. Blue plastic, Aces logo on one side, 3812 on the other, and a tiny T10 torque screwdriver threaded through like a charm. "For emergencies," Coach says. Malik turns it in his palm. The plastic is warm from Coach's pocket. The metal is cool, both are true. He tucks it next to the photo strip. One reminder of who, one of how. He and Nora walk toward the bus stop. They don't need a ride. They need a minute beside something familiar. A MARTA bus hisses up to the curb. The driver, a woman with a gold pin on her chest, opens the doors and leans out. "You that boy from the video?" she asks, eyes smiling. "I guess," Malik says, shy. She nods once. "We're proud of you," she says, like she has the right. She does. The doors close. The bus exhales and goes. Malik stands there a second longer. He looks up at the courthouse windows. Somewhere inside, a judge is taking off a robe, sitting for a minute, staring at his hands. "Come on," Nora says. "Your sister's probably out of school by now." "Isabel." "Right." Malik texts his aunt. "On my way." He puts his phone away, eyes the street, times the light. He and Nora cross when it's time and not before. He doesn't look back. He doesn't need to. If this story made you think, even for a second, share it. Because sometimes all justice needs is someone to say what time it is. Subscribe for more stories where dignity stands its ground and evidence speaks louder than assumptions.